Most definitely. Now, I don't want to stop your enthusiasm by asking you things, and we are going to have to take a break at the half an hour mark for a quick news break. So let's get started. You're going to tell us a little bit or a lot about romance scams, sextortion scams, which is a flowing industry these days. And tell us, what have you been up to?
Well, it is perfect timing because I contacted your producer last week, actually, and I said, me and my colleague, played a scammer. We guessed what he was, so we let it roll and see what happened. And then we found that what we found was exactly all the red flags. So there was a gentleman this morning in the news, perfect timing, poor man, poor gentleman, 70 years old, scammed of £3,000, clearly vulnerable, found on social media. The Internet Watch Foundation raised it. The poor man wants to take his own life. I know people that have been ripped of thousands and thousands. And if anybody wants to understand, there's a film, true story, I don't know if you've seen it, Johnny, called Tinder Swindler. It's a true story, and you cannot believe what this man did. True story. It's worth watching. How easy it is to be suckered in when you're vulnerable. So I don't know. Are you going to the news now, or shall I continue?
No, continue, please. Continue.
Right. So let me say, this is what we did, right? So we decided that we got sick of these people, and let's test it for ourselves. Let's play him. So it was whoever got, because it's very often not a contact that comes through a normal dating site. It's likely to be on your private Twitter, on your private feed. So we said, well, who gets it first? We'll go for it, right? So unfortunately, I was beaten to it. So we were like communicating all the time. So, and obviously this person trawls through the internet and finds people, and people that are linked to me are like on the internet and very, very visible. And of course, our profiles are easy to track. So what happened was this guy, right now, he set himself up to be a senior consultant surgeon, and his skill was dermatology, right? Now, why would he be contacting a woman on private Twitter? He was supposed to be widowed, and saw the photograph of him, very attractive man. And we were laughing, saying, Ben, it's not him. I said, well, why don't you say to him, I think you're a scammer. See what he says. So he came back and said, well, not everybody's a scammer. Some people are genuine. Yeah, right. I said to my colleague, yeah, say, well, actually, I don't believe that you are for real. So then he pushed and pushed. And the next thing, off it goes, right? So he starts saying, hang on, now what happened here? He starts to say that he worked for the United Nations. Yeah, right. He worked for the United Nations. And then he says to her that he's working in Somalia as a surgeon, sticking on arms and legs on people in Somalia that have been in the war zone. And, so my friend is saying, oh, excellent work. How good are you? And so he goes on, and then he goes on about his terrible conditions over there. So he thought, yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? And he goes along. Then the love bombing starts very quickly. He's telling her that he's very much in love with her. I said, when was this contact made? About 4 days ago, wasn't it? And then every time she woke up in the morning, there were these wonderful love images and, lovely sayings, which I'm sure he had probably cut and pasted off AI. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then there was like these powerful love songs that he was sending her. And I said to her, are you in love with this guy yet? We were just teasing him. Let it roll, see what else he comes out with. So then he was going on about, how wonderful the United Nations were, blah, blah, blah. And then he started telling her about his 2 children. So I said, ask him for a photo. So he sends a photo of himself in this tent, which actually looked exactly like the guy who is purporting to be, who worked for the UN, this very attractive man. But you see, if he's managed to hack into this guy's social media, he'll find things. So up pops, he sends my colleague a picture of these 2 boys. Now, the 2 boys were apparently in a private school, boarding school in South Carolina. And his wife sadly died 5 years ago. I said, oh my goodness. I said, this is sounding so horribly true, so horribly like the truth of how they play. And you know, and then he said, then we actually cracked up laughing. He went, he'd gone quiet for a whole 24 hours. And we went, oh, well, that's interesting. What's going to happen now? Oh, up he comes again the next morning. Oh, he says to her, I'm ever so sorry that I couldn't contact you, but we had a bomb explosion by the Taliban, and all the United Nations mast was completely shattered. And I said, wait for it. I bet he's now going to ask for money. I bet you anything he's going to ask for something, because, you know, and sure enough, he says to her, oh, my laptop was shattered in this. Could you possibly get me a laptop? I said, well, hang on a minute. Are you going to ask him what tent in Somalia you're going to send it to? Because it's all top secret. He didn't say, he couldn't possibly talk to her because of all the security that he was going through, that, you know, there's cameras everywhere and the United Nations. I said, ask him how he contacts his children then. Oh, we're only allowed to talk to them. Well, oh, this is just a joke. So then we started to look, we looked at Somalia, and I said, the only bomb explosion from the Taliban was early August. There has been no explosion in Somalia by the Taliban. The guy is a complete shyster. So send him that as well, and block him. So then we have proved my flag list that I have actually also, once we did all this and had our fun, she then wrote and said, well, you know, you might like to know that you've been played right from the off. Me and my colleague knew exactly what you were. So blocked him. And then I said, oh, let's have a bit more fun. Let's put it out on Twitter. This guy, if you know this guy, you're contacted by this guy, he is not him. He is a rom-com and have nothing to do with him. So she then gets a text the next day saying, you are a crazy lady. You are crazy. Well, you are a crazy lady. You know, what have you put? I see what you post. Well, this is someone that can't speak English properly, isn't it? You are a crazy lady. I see what you post. I said, oh, let's have a bit more fun. He then blocks her. I said, let's have a bit more fun. Let's go on main Twitter and have a go at him as well and put it all out there as well. So the other day, we then had another look. We went back on Twitter and put his name, and he's still using the same name, completely different profile now. He now looks like you, actually.
Oh, really? Uh-oh.
So he changed from this like svelte looking
wait, be careful what you say now. He changed to this ugly looking radio journalist with evil conniving face. Is that what you're going to say?
Honestly, we really did. I mean, and we were just saying, though, you know, afterwards, having had our fun and like really got back at one, we thought, well, he'll still be doing it. We thought, well, let's look at all the red flags that are listed as red flags that we have actually proven.
I'm already loving that people in the chat are really enjoying this. But on a serious note, I got to say, on a serious note now, you know, how can people protect themselves from a scam like this? Because I have to admit, as someone who gives people the benefit of the doubt, and I'm a romantic at heart. I'm someone who truly, I would love to find true love, settle down and all this. And I am truly susceptible to such scams. You know, if it wouldn't, I mean, he'd have to do better than being a Nigerian prince or something along those lines. But I am. How can people actually, you know, protect to be able to see this? What are the red flags?
Well, it is interesting because truly this guy ticked every single box, and it's quite chilling because we were doing it and I thought, well, why should we have a social conscience about this? You've got none. You have trawled through the internet. You've tried. I'm like you. I mean, I'm married to a Yorkshireman. They're not known for their romantic behaviours, right? So I am very romantic. I am the same, and therefore I would be susceptible. But this was literally a professional joke we were having, and thought, get you, you know, we laugh. But so here's the thing. Right, listen carefully. You're not But I wouldn't even go on a dating site because you could be meeting the axe murderer, couldn't you? You don't know who you're meeting. But it is likely to be on your private Twitter or social media. Yes, they would have trawled through the internet. Yes, they would have found a profile. Their photos, here comes the flags. Likely their photo, their occupation, and their name will have been scammed, even lifted off somebody else's, profile. The fraudster will often present as unavailable for direct contact. True. Welfare issues. His wife had died, yeah. Raised to encourage sympathy. So she asked how his wife died and never got an answer because there wasn't one, of course. More often than not, in a far off, troubled country where there is chaos. He was in Somalia, so he said. Well, he probably was. Where travel, contact, and communication is a security challenge or a challenge. Next one, bereavements can be highlighted. The loss of a spouse, the loss of a child, to invoke sympathy. Let's tick that box, yeah? The issue of money may be raised fairly early on. Oh, that's right. He also asked her if she owned her own house. So we sort of said to each other, well, what should we say? Say you're renting, and let him see that you have no money, because he's leading up. He's going to be leading up to wanting cash. You wait and see, something's going to happen. And then, of course, the Taliban bombed his camp. They had no food apparently as well. Basically eating their own nails, really. So very quickly it says the issue of money may be raised very early on, with not necessarily a definite request, but just testing the water. Yeah. Financial aid, maybe for travel. Then information about the fraudster's family will be very limited. So when my friend was asking, I said, ask if he's got a number. So she asked, if you're in such a terrible turmoil over there, I would be heartbroken if I didn't hear from you. Is there a number that I could have? So he gave her this number, and once we rang it, no such number. Oh my God, it was amazing. And then information offered there. Yes. Information offered by the victim. So he was trying to find out from her interests, what she liked, food, music, all of that. And he can collate all that together and then present himself as somebody who is like-minded. And, and then again, part of the red flags, powerful emotive music. Yeah. Social media images. She had lots of pictures of love and people kissing and all that sort of thing. She must have. What did she had? She had she had most of in the short time when she was contacting. I think we did this for about a fortnight before we got bored and thought, this is ridiculous. Let's just say, you've been played, mate. And regular text bombardment. She was like, I'd say to her, how many have you had today? About 10. I said, I thought you were sewing on arms and legs in Somalia.
Oh, wow.
And then, yes, deep, profound love is declared prematurely, right? And the love bombing. Well, I think it must have been day 5 that he declared his, I have to say, I am completely in love with you. And I said, and what are you going to say? So she said, I'm going to say the same. We were larking around to just show him up for what he was and trying to test, because we get a lot of people that tell us that we have been scammed. And this is just so dreadful, unkind, hideous emotional abuse and financial abuse as well. And we're robust people, but it was very easy. We were saying afterwards, when we looked at what was sent her, we were both saying, well, actually, if you were, say, widowed, divorced, vulnerable, when you look at all the things that she was saying and all the things that he was saying, they looked like a perfect love match, and it was scary, because if you were, and we can all be vulnerable, if you were vulnerable, you could easily have bought into that. You could easily have bought into it. And
if
we
you're
just
looking
thought,
for love, if you're just looking for love, if you're looking for someone
absolutely,
to spend your life with, you could be.
exactly.
This is what I'm saying. I'm the whole world is going to have a hard time trying to understand how things are changing, how quickly things are changing with AI, because soon they'll be able to send you videos, they'll be able to send you photos, and you will not be able to see the seams. Amazing
and what was
work.
interesting, it's true, but what was interesting is I kept saying, blimey, he's sort of like, he virtually cut and pasted you with like a whole operation with all the stuff he used and everything. I went, look, and then I said, hang on a minute, show me this. So he was showing me over like we're doing now. And I went, he doesn't speak proper English, because look how eloquent his thing of the medical profession is and this, that, and the other. I reckon he's gone to AI and just slotted that in, cut and pasted it in. Because when you actually look at what he actually says, that he actually doesn't speak real English. There's little bits that are left out, like at the end where he goes, you crazy lady. No, you are a crazy lady, not you crazy lady. No, it doesn't make sense. And there were little bits that were coming through on some of the messages she had. I said, look at it again. That is not, he doesn't speak real English. He's supposed to be a consultant, for goodness sake.
Yeah,
I mean, he would have
you
to
can,
be fluent.
It seemed like it's very clever how he's used that, how he's. Yeah, and I suppose they're probably looking at the red flag list too, and being like seeing it as a tick sheet of what they should do and what does work. So it's amazing how that happens. Listen,
I don't know. Sorry,
I was going to say we've run out of time, but Marilyn, that is an amazing. It was so much fun to see how animated you are about that sort of stuff too.
I tell you honestly,
does this guy still have the same handle?
Can I just say, we actually put at the end of it, she actually ended it with, "Gotcha, you bastard."
Does he have the same handles? He's kept the same handle?
Yes, he has, and I've reported it. We both have. I've reported it, so my colleague.
What is it? What is it, so that my guys can report it too?
Oh, here we go. It was, oh God, I can't remember it now. It was, oh yes, Delic, at Delic, DELIC, and that Forster, DELIC, then FOERSTER. He's still there as Delic Forster. And if you go on it, because we're basically stalking him.
Yeah, right too. I suggest, we've run out of time, but I suggest everybody on the show go find that handle. I mean,
I have a handout. I've made up a handout.
That's perfect. I'll tweet out. I'll add him in a tweet, and we'll get as many people to report that account as possible.